Well, we were just talking, Dr. Mark Engelman and I were just talking about his background, his education, and a combination of Ohio and Michigan makes you one of those people that everybody recognizes as an enemy.
Yeah, you're right.
Except your patients.
Hopefully that's true.
Dr. Mark Engelman, with a brand new place, now 20 years at St. Joe's in the emergency ward, right?
That's correct.
You were in charge of that division of St. Joe's. A lot of other areas of experience medically, but right now located in a new place, located at kind of near Campbell and 32nd Street, right?
Just south of there.
Officially called the
Engelman Health Institute.
And what by that, you mean you're talking about come on in, whatever it is that's wrong, and we'll be able to tell you more about it.
That's correct.
You're a fellow in stem cell medicine. Is further research in finding out how stem cells work, is that the answer to everybody's problem?
It's going to be the answer to a lot of problems. I mean, it's certainly making new organs will be, you won't have to go look for a new kidney because you'll hopefully have your own stem cells and you'll be able to just drape them over a superstructure and put them in a reactor and you'll make your own kidney, so you won't have to worry about rejection and so forth. That's the future, and it's not really that far off.
That sounds like Star Trek, but
Doesn't
you're saying within a decade?
Well, they already did a windpipe for somebody that way, and the interesting part is it all worked out pretty well outside the body. They put it in the body, and miraculously it grew with the proper blood vessels, the proper nerve supply, which leads to what I'm doing now, which is the pathways and the signals that tell cells what to do, what not to do, has to do with the aging process, the disease process, and it's fascinating.
What's the biggest problem, though, that contemporary medicine has? All of that research allows us dreams to be answered in real life, and yet we still have, when it comes to familiar names, Tim Russert, James Gandolfini, in the prime of their lives, dropping over.
Well, the statistics are that 50% of people that have heart attacks have, quotes, normal cholesterol. Now, how is that possible?
Yes.
It's possible because the old cholesterol test has sort of now become the covered wagon type medicine. It's not very specific. It doesn't get down to the nitty-gritty of the different particle sizes that get into the arteries, and so it's sort of a general test, and it gives you a false sense of security if it's good, and it may give you a false sense of dread if it's not good. The new tests are unbelievable now. They look at particle sizes and weight and inflammatory markers for seeing, and if those gentlemen would have come in to see me, I honestly believe that their outcomes would have been different.
What would you have done?
I would have done the tests that showed that they had an active process going on in their coronary artery that potentially would lead to a rupture, which is what both of them died from, was the rupture of the artery can either get smaller and smaller, and that's what angina is when you have chest pain. And then they do the stress test, it shows that artery is getting smaller, but frequently the artery's regular size, but there's a plaque that's active, and that plaque ruptures, and the next thing you know, you have a big blood clot that either stops the vessel or moves downstream, and that's the sort of what they call the widowmaker.
Well, at your invitation, I dropped by yesterday in advance of your visit, and I'm not sure exactly what it is you did. You made me comfortable. Everything was terrific. Got a chance to meet the staff dog, and we did a couple of things. Is that functional medicine?
Yes. In other words, there's structural medicine and functional medicine. Structural is what you have to do is what does something look like, and functional is it working correctly? The new medicine now was, quotes, anti-aging medicine, has now adopted the name more accurately of functional medicine, which is how are things functioning? How are my pathways functioning? And it tells you what's going on an active basis. And the beauty is you can do something about it. We don't do any tests that we can't do something about.
Well, in fact, not only did I meet the staff and the staff dog, I was also introduced to the staff tree.
That's true.
Talk about that, if you will.
So this is the staff tree.
Yeah, may I hold that up, please? I don't know whether we actually have that already, but this I thought was fascinating as you went over it with me. What does this mean?
Well, it turns out that when I started studying stem cells, I thought that most people think they have a brain of their own and they go off and find out what's wrong and go here and go there. They don't do any of that. It's all about signaling. So it's called what's called the niche. The French call it, we call it the niche. The niche is everything surrounding that cell has an effect on that cell. Turns out your life is exactly the same way. It has a niche. It's your wife. It's your friends. It's what you eat. It's how you think. So all of those things lead to a good outcome, or they can lead to a bad outcome.
All branches of that tree.
Correct. And that's what we address, is the entire person and everything that feeds into that. It may be, it's my dog, for instance. You know, somebody who's lonely that doesn't have a dog doesn't live as long. Somebody who's not happily married or doesn't have good relationships, they don't live as long. Or
I'm
they get
happily
other
married
diseases.
and I have a dog. Does that mean I'm going to be around for a long
Well,
time?
look how well you're doing.
Listen, very quickly, because we're talking about a matter of seconds now. The Eastern medicine gurus refer to something called balance.
Yes.
Is that what you practice?
Yes. If you think about it, this is logical stuff. If you're out of balance, you have a tendency to get sick. You think about your own life. Anytime somebody eats too much, drinks too much, doesn't sleep enough, doesn't exercise, they're out of balance. What happens? They get sick in one fashion or another.
And you know what? This is a gentleman who understands the world of fashion, at least medical fashion, Dr. Mark Engelman, who happens to be in the neighborhood, but it doesn't matter because he's in your neighborhood, conveniently located on 32nd Street here in North Central Phoenix. And he's convenient to you because, you know what? He seems to understand how to make you better. This is Pat McMahon, and this is the Morning Scramble.